Who are the kings of Europe when it comes to football? It's an ongoing debate in which fans of Liverpool, Manchester United, Bayern Munich, AC Milan and Barcelona will all frequently stake their claim. However, fans of football know there's truly only one answer to this question. It's Real Madrid. Today on Football Reality, we're looking at how Real Madrid have managed to become the undisputed king of Europe. The Spanish club has a staggering 35 La Liga titles to its name, as well as 19 Copa del Reys, but it's the European Cup, or Champions League, in which the club most proudly boasts that they're the best there is, having won the competition for a record 14 times. It's incredible. To put into perspective just how incredible the feat of winning the biggest football competition 14 times is, Italian giants AC Milan are the second most successful team in the competition's history, with an impressive, but comparatively minuscule, 7 titles. Bayern Munich and Liverpool are next with their 6 titles, while Real Madrid's arch-rivals Barcelona completing the competition's top 5 with 5 European Cup wins. The competition we've all grown to know and love started in the 1955-56 season, then known as the European Cup, with a final played between, well you guessed it, Real Madrid and French club Stade Reims in the Parc des Princes in Paris. Los Blancos went on to win the first final by 4-3, thanks to 2 goals from Hector Real, 1 from Alfredo Di Stefano and 1 from Marquitos, to kickstart what was set to be a period of domination for the Spanish giants. Real Madrid went on to win the first 5 European Cups in succession, to cement their crown as the kings of Europe from the very start. The most famous of these finals was the thriller against German outfit Eintracht Frankfurt at Hamden Park, where Real came out on top as winners by 7-3 in a final which for many years was considered the best ever. Los Blancos then suffered a drought by their standards, having to wait another 6 years until 1966 to lift number 6 when Real beat Partizan 2-1, but the real drought occurred after this, when the Madridistas had to wait until 1998 for the next one. Number 7 and number 8 came in quick succession in the years 1998 and the year 2000, on the cusp of what is often known as the Galacticos era. The president of the club at the time was a man called Lorenzo Sanz, who must have strongly believed that the win in 2000 against fellow Spaniards Valencia would be enough to get him elected once again. Unfortunately for Sanz, this wasn't to be the case, as this is when the now legendary Florentino Perez entered the fray, and the rest is history. Perez was elected at his second attempt, largely thanks to his promise to bring in the player who many thought was the best player in the world at the time, their arch-rivals Barcelona's star player Luis Figo. Perez promised and Perez delivered, snatching the Portuguese star for a world record fee at the time of €62 million to become the first ever Galactico. Perez's exciting policy was to add one of the world's best players, or a Galactico, to the Real Madrid squad every single season. And Figo was soon joined by France legend Zinedine Zidane in 2002 for a new record fee of €77 million. It was the Brazilian Ronaldo's turn to join next, before David Beckham joined in 2003, followed by fellow Englishman Michael Owen 1 year later. The 9th Champions League win arrived as the Galacticos gathered momentum, beating German side Bayer Leverkusen thanks to a Zidane volley that many still see as the best Champions League final goal of all time, though fellow Madrid player Gareth Bale may have something to say about that. The Galactico era was hugely popular, even by fans of other European clubs who look forward to sitting down and watching the world's best players work alongside each other on the TV on a Tuesday or Wednesday evening. However, they didn't win as much as expected, and Perez also found himself criticised at times, leading to him eventually resigning in the year 2006. His Madrid hiatus did not last long, however, as he was re-elected 3 years later and set about continuing with his Galacticos project. Brazil star Kaká arrived in 2009 for €67 million, before the biggest and most important Galactico of all time arrived in the form of one Cristiano Ronaldo for a staggering €94 million. Ronaldo was set to be worth every penny. Many think of Cristiano Ronaldo as the best player of all time, and this is all down to his time at Real Madrid. The Portuguese star became the ultimate Galactico by smashing all sorts of goal records and showing the elite mentality needed at Real Madrid in dragging them, at times single-handedly, to the biggest prizes in football. Another 12-year drought was ended in 2014 when they beat city rivals Atletico Madrid in a tense final in 2014, eventually winning 4-1 after extra time, largely thanks to a Gareth Bale masterclass, before starting a run of 3 Champions League titles in a row in 2016, beating Atleti once more before disposing of Juventus and Liverpool, again largely thanks to a stunning overhead kick by the supremely talented Bale, to take the Champions League tally to a daunting 13. Their 14th and latest Champions League victory makes them the current holders of the competition, having held off Liverpool once more in a narrow 1-0 victory in Paris. This latest campaign perfectly sums up what it takes to be a Galactico, having the undoubted skill, but also the mentality needed to know that they're never down and out. The current Real Madrid side is, of course, packed with quality. Karim Benzema has enjoyed the form of his life in recent years, despite his advancing years, while similar can be said of midfield general Luka Modric. Meanwhile, new talent like Brazilian winger Vinicius Jr. and Uruguay midfielder Fede Valverde constantly impress and rarely put in a bad performance, despite the weight and pressure which comes with wearing the famous white shirt. Real Madrid's 2022 Champions League campaign is seen by many as the greatest ever, largely thanks to the character they showed throughout to get themselves off the canvas when they seemed to be all but beaten. They travelled to Stamford Bridge to face Chelsea in the quarter-final and were excellent, having disposed of Kylian Mbappe, Lionel Messi and Neymar's PSG in the previous round. Chelsea came back to the Bernabeu in the second leg, however, and forced extra time, having been 3-0 up at one stage. Real's mentality was enough to see them through on the night though, with Benzema winning a remarkable time thanks to a goal 6 minutes into extra time. If you thought that was remarkable, however, just wait for the visit of Manchester City in the semi-final. A thrilling open first leg in Manchester saw City take a slender 4-3 lead over to Spain to face the 13-time winners. Despite the fact that the lead was a slender one, City were hot favourites to go through thanks to their strong domestic form and wealth of talent available, and cemented that advantage thanks to Riyad Mahrez's goal with 17 minutes left. With time running out, Real Madrid needed 2 goals against fierce opposition. Of course, their incredible mentality meant they got them, and in true dramatic style, they left it as late as physically possible. Rodrigo, a player often criticised and left out of the starting 11, showed exactly what it means to be worthy of the Real Madrid badge, to score in the 90th and 91st minutes, to produce the most astonishing turnaround, to take it to extra time once more. With the momentum firmly with Madrid, starman Benzema scored yet again in extra time against a crestfallen City side to take Los Blancos to another Champions League final. Despite being the European kings, Madrid came into the final as underdogs against a strong Liverpool team who had already won 2 trophies that season and were potentially on the verge of 2 more. Arguably, Madrid were outplayed for the majority of the 90 minutes, but relied on their never-say-die attitude, as well as a magical performance from their goalkeeper, Thibaut Courtois, to keep the Reds out. One moment of quality at the other end was all it took to cinch title number 14, as Valverde set up Vinicius Jr. to score the only goal of the game. Quite simply, it had taken absolute miracle for Real Madrid to ever be overtaken as the kings of Europe. And regardless of which stars are in their squad and who is the manager, they are always in the hunt to win the Champions League. It feels like only a matter of time before 14 becomes 15, despite the fact that many of the other teams in Europe appear to be growing stronger. I hope you enjoyed this video about Europe's greatest ever football club. So do you think the king will ever be overthrown? Leave us your thoughts down in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you all in the next one.